with another live video for you. We're going to keep going on our painting for Ghost Rider and, having some fun with Marvel Crisis Protocol, which is our Monday night paint show. So this is where I focus and paint some of our beloved Marvel characters for the Marvel Crisis Protocol game. We usually do a model review, and we always do our painting. So I'm going to jump right in. We had started doing the Ghost Rider model, and you guys can see where I'm at with that. We're going to keep going tonight and see what we can do. Hopefully I won't have to clear my nostrils, because for some reason the world is just hitting me hard with sinuses and or other stuff. So we're going to kind of see where we go. So if you guys remember, we were, kind of playing around with the paint job of the flames. I wanted to work out what I was going to do there. So I came up with this idea of doing like a partial. So I wanted to do like a partial, like the actual, like, the actual, the actual wheels were on fire. And then I'm going to actually do the, I'll do the rims. The rims are going to be in like a silver color, so I'll do more metallics on those. Oops. And as always, when we're talking about, when I'm painting Marvel stuff, if you guys have questions about the game, Marvel Crisis Protocol, I want to shout out my sponsor for this video. Ooh, I see that I have to do a little bit more fire painting. My sponsor for this video, which is Undiscovered Realms. It's where I get all my model-centric stuff. So it's where I get all my Marvel Crisis Protocol models. It's also where I get all my paint supplies and my brushes and all that good stuff. So, and you can see I already started doing some detail work on the fire. So, but what I am noticing is that some of it I didn't 100% paint yet, so I'm just going back in and touching up some of those paint areas. I'm really, really happy with the way that this paint job came out. My goal was to actually try to get a little further along on the model before I came back to you guys, but life just got in the way, so I had to kind of wait until we met again. And I'm sorry I don't have a model review for you guys tonight. I'm actually waiting for a few models to come in, and it always gets tricky during the holiday time, because I have to not necessarily stop buying models, and I have enough backlog painting projects to keep us going for a little while. But I do hold off buying models because it's the holiday time, and sometimes some of the models that I'm looking for, especially if they are newer models that might be coming out, they end up under my Christmas tree. So sometimes folks want to buy me stuff, and I'd rather them buy me some models, so I can get those models for you guys, so both we can eventually play this game and do battle reports, which I keep talking about that, but never seem to be delivering on that yet. Part of the issue as to why I haven't been able to do that for you guys is because it's really the terrain. I just have a couple of large terrain pieces that I have to get painted. And I never have the time to paint the terrain pieces because I'm always painting models. So, but Marvel Crisis Protocol, for the most part, almost all the models that I had planned to paint for this are pretty much done. So we're almost at a point where it's 100% paint. So And again, Undiscovered Realms, the sponsors of this video, check them out. They have a website. You guys can order from them. They do everything from tabletop games like Marvel Crisis Protocol. They also do Warhammers. They have a ton of Age of Sigmar models and 40K models. They do board games. They do Magic the Gathering. So if you guys have been long watchers of the channel and you've seen me unbox Magic cards or even Pokemon cards, all of that stuff came from those guys. So, and they are awesome. And they are truly the reason that I'm able to do all the painting videos I'm doing, because without them and without having them around, I would very much probably not be able to get all of these models, because there are not too many shops in my area. So I really, want to support those guys and give them all the love and all of the props I can, because without them, like I said, I wouldn't be able to do the things I do. So there's a link below. Check them out. Great guys, and they will accommodate. They will do orders. I cannot say enough about them as a hobby shop slash card game store slash Funko Pop slash vintage toys. They do a bunch of stuff. So I love that they carry vintage toys as well. I think that that's super awesome. Although they are not, I will admit, they are not my place for getting vintage toys. When it comes to action figures and stuff like that, I actually go to All Yeah Comics in Harrison, which is another, not necessarily an official sponsor of my videos, but good folks and friends that I really, really enjoy as well. So if you want a really cool comic shop that does a lot of that stuff, they are awesome for that as well. So yeah, not necessarily a sponsor of my video, but definitely some awesome guys who are also worth checking out. So if I ever did like a toy unboxing, they're going to be the guys that I did that from. Yeah, I knew this idea was going to be like pretty ambitious, because when you're doing something like this, you're doing a lot of different tones and a lot of painting kind of in the same spot. So I knew it was going to get a little interesting to do it this way, but we're gonna stick the course. We're gonna try to stick the landing, and I'm pretty excited because I think it's gonna come out real good. Oh, was I doing the Oh, I might have been doing that. Okay. All right, so why I think I'm having so much trouble is because I think I started off with a different gray. This happens to me sometimes. I'll go back over something, and I won't realize I actually used a different gray when I did it. And I think that's happening right now, because I think I used, just looking at it. Shit. All right. I was actually using the Space Wolf's gray. I went and grabbed it instinctually, and I didn't think that it was the same gray. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go over this again. Yeah, just to fix that, because it'll look a lot better if I do. And then I'll go back on this side. And this will actually help, because it'll distinguish the color between I know I did my like model review last week, but I will say one missed opportunity on this might be a little bit of the fact that, you know, they didn't put any treads in the tire. Like, it would have been nice if they added treads in the tire. Yeah, I'm just this is all. I may have to re-whiten this because now it's like super. Yeah. I'm just trying to give it like the same tonal quality. Because it does look better. It looks a lot better with the Space Wolf, because then it's blocking and framing that color better. And it makes the fire like look so much more intense. It's a good foil color to that, so I do like it. And it actually is very reminiscent. It's funny. I said I wasn't gonna go with like old school Johnny Blaze, but it really does actually look a little bit more now like that old school Johnny Blaze. So if you guys are Ghost Rider fans, it looks a lot more like the classic Ghost Rider character, which was he was in the original comic books. His bike was red. His bike was red, and he wore a blue jacket in the original comic. So what I'm doing now is I'm just trying to put those tires in, because in the comic, you know, he just like produces fire through his bike. So I wanted to have the tires still be there, and I'm really digging how this is looking. It's looking real good. And I was saying before, I like how it plays off the fire because it's so dark. And of course, because we're painting a Ghost Rider model, I thought it would be fitting it would be fitting to have some heavy metal music going on, because, you know, he is given his powers by the devil, which, for any normal geek out there, you know that the devil is all about rock and roll. So but yeah, he is cursed by the devil to be the Ghost Rider. His servants, like in all things in the comic books, eventually he, you know, Ghost Rider figures out sort of a way out of it. And his sort of way out of it is to use his powers against the devil at one point. And, you know, of course, Ghost Rider is another example of a sort of anti-hero, because he, of course, has a more flexible moral code than some of the other heroes out there, because he literally kills people. So he obviously does not have a code like the other villains do. I like the other villains, like the other heroes do. But of course, like any good anti-hero, he, you know, he has a good, compelling story as to why. You know, he is, of course, punishing those that are sinners or bad people. So, you know, for us who are, you know, reading about him, that, of course, is the, like, well, you know, he's doing these bad things, but, you know, morally, are the people that he's affecting, you know, is it right for a person who does despicable bad things to be punished? And that's, of course, the crux of his comic book. So it's where we, the viewer, are like, well, is he really a bad guy? Because he's punishing those that hurt others. So, like, maybe it's okay. So we have to decide for ourselves as people looking in on this world, you know, is Ghost Rider in fact really a bad guy? Similar to how at one point in the Venom story, and if you watched the newer Venom movies that came out, they went with this version of Venom, but eventually in the comic books, you know, Eddie Brock, you know, does kind of the symbiote suit that he wears, you know, does get him into some trouble. And, you know, like anything else in the Marvel Universe, when a character is imbued with any kind of power, that power can sometimes be corrupting. You know. And so when he gets this power, he, you know, misuses it in the sense of, well, in the case of Venom, misusing the symbiote's power is basically not really hard, because the symbiote actually will, like, try to coerce the host to try to, like, do things and obviously give in to its needs, because it itself is trying to survive, because it's a, you know, it's a parasite that needs the host to survive. Hence why when the symbiote actually shows up originally, and in the comic book version of the story actually goes to Spider-Man, because Spider-Man gets symbiote suit first. That's why Eddie Brock looks like Spider-Man, because the suit makes Eddie look like that because it wants to get back to Spider-Man. So it models itself after Spider-Man because it actually is like, ooh, Spider-Man is a superhuman, so, you know, ooh, he's a meta-human. Like, so, like, I want to be, you know, his body and his, like, power set is powerful. So, like, the symbiote actually wants to go back So that's why it makes Eddie start to be obsessed with Spider-Man. So that it can get back to being with Peter. So it's pretty tricky. You know, that's one of the reasons why a lot of the Spider-Man in general, that's why I love Spider-Man, because a lot of the Spider-Man villains were very interesting because they had flaws like that. You know, it was they were all like created with flaws. And I particularly love characters like that. I love characters that have, you know, big gaping flaws to them. And I know I got off track and I started talking about Spider-Man. I guess I'm of Spider-Man mind because, of course, if you guys haven't been following the news, tomorrow there is a new Spider-Man trailer that's going to drop for the movie. So I'm pretty excited. I keep telling everybody I'm not going to watch it. I probably will. I'm afraid to watch it because I don't want to know more about the movie. I don't want to know like more of what's going to happen because I feel like, you know, not that they spoiled a lot of the movie already, but they've shown you so much. Like that very first trailer was so like over the top insane. I don't want to keep watching more. I want to leave it be. I don't want to tempt fate with that. So, oh, there's a. Oh no, that's painted. Yeah, it's too tempting. I don't want to do it. Just doing a little bit of touch up. Get that off the edge. Sorry guys, I know you're seeing my paintbrush. I'm trying. In order to get into some of these crevices. Because you'll see, once I get that all nice and clean, it's going to make that whole illusion look so much cooler. Because the idea is that I wanted to make it look like when you look at the comic book, there's an effect that happens where the wheel spins so fast that you just see fire, and the way the artist draws it, it's always like they do it using like a quick method where you are inferring movement. You're inferring that something is moving very fast by drawing. You draw like a directional way of it moving, but you draw like little details to make it look like it's moving fast. So you draw like parts of the wheel, like you'll see the wheel or little inferences that the wheel's spinning. So I'm kind of trying to do it with the model where you like, he's in mid motion, and you're seeing the flames kind of go up. So the flames are kind of like my little homage to like what's going on. I mean, I think the model is looking pretty good. I mean, I love the front of the bike. I love like the way that the skull in the front came out. There's a lot of like vibrancy and movement to it. And I'm just trying to figure out. See, I'm running into some snags. I'm noticing of what I'm going to do next, because so I have this thing here, which I wanted to do. I mean, like, I think it makes sense for it all to be silver, but I don't want to make the model boring either. So I'm almost thinking that, like, I want to do the spokes as silver, and then I want to maybe do that as the space gray, as the Griffer Charger gray. So not every part of the bike is like painted in silver. I don't know. I'm like trying to figure it out because I want those chrome bits. I obviously want those chrome bits because it's a motorcycle, but it's hard. See, the other wheel, I had it all kind of mapped out and figured out because it was really easy. But this wheel, this wheel's a little tougher. And what's also tougher is to get into some of those areas. So, and it's funny because you couldn't, you know, with the way that they build their models, Atomic Mass Games, which, don't get me wrong, I love their sculpts. And I think that the folks over there that do their sculpting are insanely cool. And, I mean, they're amazing. The sculpts are just so lively. They're so energetic. They're awesome. But they build them in such a way that you can't really, you can't really, like, what's the word? You can't, like, piece paint it. I'm just gonna do, like, little silver details, because, like, I know I want these things to be silver. Yeah, joints to it. To the bike, because that's, like, cool. I gotta figure this out. Ooh, I gotta paint the tank underneath. Alright, there's a lot of, like, touch-up stuff I gotta do on this. A lot. Alright, let's get some of those mechanical parts painted. I'm gonna start working on this, and then I'll go back to the wheel, because I think if I get those mechanical parts painted, it might look better than it does right now. And I was gonna paint this in silver. I might go to black. But nah, that's traditional, because it's the way his bike is in the comic book. Alright, let's go with some of the Space Charger gray, and we'll get that back element done, and we'll see what it looks like with the gray. I think it's going to look really good. So let's take a look. Let's see. And then I could always, like, throw in some silver highlights if I want to. I knew this was going to be, like, not a problem with the model, but, like, I knew it was going to be a hard aspect of it because like a lot of his like bike and a lot of the like parts of it are all like gray and black. Like it's Ghost Rider, so like that's his color palette normally. Just want to go to a bigger brush. There we go. So I can apply the detail a little bit better. All right. Like I said, I'm just like going in and playing with the color being that gray and seeing what it looks like. I already like that a lot. It does look good. And then maybe for the inside rim, I'll just do that. Yeah. And then I'll go back in and do that space gray. That actually looks pretty good. I like that. Yeah, so you can see. So just to do that little bit under here. So I think that looks really nice, and then I can just touch up that area that I have to for the other gray once that dries, and it will look really nice. Yeah, I think the Griffin Charger gray is going to be like the savior for a lot of this, because then I can play around with it. Yeah, for some to bring out some of the other bike mechanic elements, because it's just a different gray, so it'll look really nice. No, I don't want to do that. I'm gonna do the seat in a different color, but yeah, like for all of these like gears, I think that's gonna be a win for me. We can do all of these gears in that Charger. And now we're breaking up and doing some fun stuff. And you guys can see I'm just popping that right over that silver. That's going to dull out the silver a little bit, so it's not going to look as like pristine and awesome. It's going to look a little bit more worn, which I do want it to be. Very cool. Yeah, I never thought I would like think about the bike that much. I mean, obviously, because his bike is a big part of his character. Like, you know, Ghost Rider is nothing without his bike. His bike plays a significant role in, obviously, who he is and what he does. But I'm just surprised because I didn't think I would. I'd be like obsessing over the bike as much. Got it. This is either a great idea or it's going to make absolutely no sense. My guess is it probably won't play. It won't read as well, but I don't know. I wanted to break up that color, and there's a reason I picked that color. I'm using it as like an homage to the older Ghost Rider because I'm gonna have to whiten that. Okay. just want to look how stupid it looks. And if it looks like super dumb, I'm not going to keep it. Nah, it doesn't look dumb. Because I just don't want it to be black. I want it to be like something a little bit different. Yeah, let's just paint it all Griffin Charger gray. It'll look nice. I am super good at doing that. I always stick my hand in what I've mixed. It's amazing. And obviously, if you guys have questions or comments, please do not hesitate to pop those into the chat. I'm always eager and intrigued by what you guys are working on your painting tables. If you have questions about Marvel Crisis Protocol, the game, all of those are fair game. As you saw, we even were talking about the Marvel Cinematic Universe. I mean, like, it's a Marvel game. It's a Marvel stream. So any Marvel topics are on the table. And that is my big goal, like, moving into the new year. My goal is to get you guys more vocal and into the chat. I don't know what I need to do, but I will do it. Because I know I'm talking. So that much I know is true. I know that me talking is definitely happening. Now, also, I realized, because I am 100% this way as well, when I paint, I very many times will have, I'll watch YouTube videos, I'll watch other people live streaming. So I myself do what I'm thinking that some of you may do too, which is, you may actually be painting right now or working on hobbying stuff, and I'm just like the background noise for you right now. Now, of course, I'm using the contrast paints. So what you guys are seeing me do a lot of in this model is I'm doing a lot of, there's a lot of like layered coloring. So we talk a lot about, or at least I've talked a lot about, the contrast paints and how you use them. But what I'm really doing a lot of in this model right now is it's a lot of layered painting. So what do I mean by layered painting? Well, it's the idea that in a lot of cases I'm either, well, this is touch-up stuff I'm doing now, but some of what you saw me do is I'm layering the painting. So I'm layering the colors, and that's how I'm getting like some of these other areas. So like I'm doing the yellow, then layering over the orange to produce some of these effects. So you are definitely seeing some of that technique. And what you're also seeing, which is a contrast technique, is, and it comes down to how much paint I'm actually putting on the brush. So, and the type of brush I use. So, one of the things that a lot of people have, sometimes kind of come away with contrast is that they can't get like solid application of paint. Because the idea behind contrast is that, it is essentially a little bit like watered down paint, in the sense that it's not watered down, it's that it produces, the whole idea of contrast is that it produces, it's a more liquid based paint. So when you go apply it to a model, it goes into the crevices. So that's why it creates a situation for people painting that they do not need to go through and do a base. So normally when you do this process and you're using, whether it's Citadel paints or you're using Vallejo or some of the other model brands out there, the idea usually is that you block out colors. So you put down color, and then you put a wash on it, and then you put highlights on it. So you put the wash on it, and the point of the wash is so that you can bring out, you basically are using the base to cover the area with paint, and then you're using the wash to get into the crevices to get the darks, and then you're using your highlights or your layers to then bring out other aspects of the model to bring paint job. But what the contrast paint does is it really does the base and the wash step in one step. So you are walking away with a model that is, it has already had those things done to it. So you don't have to, as the person, as a painter, you don't really have to do too much. And that's why, contrast was and still is labeled as, the ability for you to basically paint a model very quickly and have it table ready very fast. And that is what, that's what contrast was always like marketed as. So, I use the contrast paints. I love them. And I do use them a little bit for that reasoning, because they are quick paints. You can go extremely fast with them. But the other reason I use them is because I love the vibrancy of their colors, the color selection that they have. And as you will see, and as I've done on this model already, I will mix and match the contrast paints with, some traditional colors. So like even on this, yes, I'm using contrast paints, but then you're seeing those metallics in there. But then I'm also using, like, I was using some general contrast color, Citadel colors on there. So it becomes a, it becomes a game where you're seeing me use, a variety of different colors and techniques on one model. So, the contrast definitely helps me get a lot of the model in a certain place that I want. But then what's great is I can go and deviate from that and just have a lot of fun and really bring out some really nice aspects to the model. And you guys are seeing me do some of that right now. Where now I'm going back over, and in some cases I'm creating like, you can see right, reapplying the paint, I'm able to get those nice dark lines on the tires. So now we're starting to get into, bringing in and bringing out some really cool details to the model itself. And now I'm gonna maybe bring in, trying to like break up the color in the bike, because it's just, you know, it's all like gray colors, gray tones. So I'm trying to like figure out how I want to do all the mechanics on the bike, because I don't want it to be boring. And then I got to put some black. I'm going to put some wash on the metals. You'll see how they'll look. They'll look more worn and more gritty when I'm done. Oh, okay. Well, I'm going a little too crazy. So you guys can see, like, sometimes I try to get like a nice water down, but I love using small brushes with the contrast, because you can target your contrast paint. And then what you start to walk away with when you do that is you start getting nice even tones. So everything you paint is a nice even tone, so you don't have that like brush stroke stuff when you water it down and you let it cool. And if you get used to, you know, I equate it when people are asking me questions when I'm teaching people painting. I almost equate it to like using ink. It's like using an ink pen to paint with. So for me, I use like paintbrush markers and stuff. So to me, it's a very easy process. And look at how nice that looks, because you're getting that nice wash effect. So it's going into those grooves. But at the same time, it's giving you a nice even tone. And you can see, just by going over it nicely, I was able to get this really nice shadow right in that crevice, so you're getting like nice detail. Yeah, and I've now realized just how many like hobby channels use contrast paints. I was under the impression, because when they first came out, especially like in my hobby community, there was like this weird like turning your nose down at people that use contrast. Like, they're like, oh, they use contrast, like they can't. And I'm like, why is like using contrast, like, you know, it became like, oh, well, you're like the Antichrist because you use contrast paints. And I was like, ugh. So I know in my local like gaming community, there was like it was just this like weird like, it's just a weird like response to the whole contrast paint thing. And I was like it's paint. You know, like, I am not getting away scot-free. Like, I'm still sitting there painting all my models. Like, it's not like I get away with it. Now, are there models that like, do I like take a stance with my models now that like, if it's not like a key character or whatever, like, do I take the stance that if it's not a key character, like, I can use contrast to like speed up the process? Oh, hell yeah, I do. If it's not like a key, like a key important character to like my army or my project, I will 100% load up the contrast and just go for it, because that's what's cool about contrast. And that's and honestly, like, that is the part of, like, you know, I'll give it to him, GW sales pitch, that I 100% bought into, which was like, you know, if you're painting like hundreds of troops, why the hell do you need them to be like super detailed? They don't need to be super detailed. Like they're grunt units. They're going to be on the field. They're in most cases, I hate to say this, but you're probably going to lose them first in your army. Like they're going to be the first things that get blown off the table. So like, why would you waste all the time to do like these crazy, obviously if it's a custom chapter or like something from 40K, like you can go like absolutely buck wild nuts. But if it's not like a custom chapter, I wouldn't even bother. So you guys are seeing what I was talking about. Now I'm going to put... So this is a more traditional wash that you would see on, like, that would be the wash that you would use for when you would base. And now you can see, the minute I put that on there, now we're getting, like, nice, like, a little bit of a rust tint to those pipes. This is going to, like... Oh, I didn't put silver on that. Okay. Yeah, like I was going to put this. This is great. And I love this technique for any, like, metal you have or whatever, because it will instantly make your metallics just seem a little rustier. And if you target it, like I'm doing, now that, like, that engine just has, like, a much different look. And it looks a lot more organic. It looks a lot more interesting than it did a minute ago. And I'm just going to go over, like, a little bit of where, like, the gears and the sockets... You can see already, like, it just gives so much more character to the model. And I'm not being, like, particularly, like, controlled with it, but the idea is I'm trying to hit, like, areas that I know. I like doing the recesses of things with this. And usually, like, I'll just, like, platter it. But you can see, even the skull, the minute you do it to it, it looks so much better. Because if you guys weren't noticing, I'm getting to the, like, some of the little, like, simple things that you do to the model. But, like, watch what happens once I do this. Like, even the hubcaps of the metal pieces, I'm going to just, like, do it in there. Because that'll give a little bit of a different value to it. So it's going to make it look a lot more interesting. And I like to just have it catch the edge. And again, just anywhere where there are bolts or where there are, like, connecting points. Because it has already made the piping, like, so much more interesting in the model. And you can see it just looks like more grounded, more real. Because when you paint this, if you don't do this, your metal's going to look very, very, it's going to look very, very flat. And you know, when you think of Ghost Rider, like Ghost Rider was Ghost Rider for a while. Just gonna give it a little bit more treatment like that, just so it looks like it's a little bit more of a worn bike. I love painting with heavy metal music. It actually does. I do recommend that you do that if you guys are painting. Like, try that one day. Try putting on like music that's like themed to maybe what you're painting, and I think what you'll find is that you will have a very cool painting session, and it will. And what I think it will also do is it might inspire you to paint differently than you normally do. And I think that like this is a great example of that, because I'm definitely like making decisions, and like I don't know, I almost am like painting to the beat in some cases too, and it's like very cool. And I was going to say to those folks watching, if you are enjoying the content that you're seeing and want to see more of this content, please consider following the channel and consider signing up for notifications so you know when we're live. I'll be doing not only the Marvel Crisis Protocol stuff, but I'll also be doing some Warhammer stuff tomorrow. So Tuesdays are always our Warhammer day. So if you are a Warhammer player, whether it's 40K or Age of Sigmar, I do models and paints, all that stuff as well. So I was just doing that. I don't even know what that part is. Bring a little bit more black into the model, because I technically use the black in like 2 spots, and I mean he's black as well, but I think that's the belt I think it's a belt, so I'm gonna go with black for the color of it, and then we'll kind of go from there. And that means this all has to get painted in black as well. Yep. So this is, I call this like realization, and this happens to be a lot. I'll decide to go one way with something, And then I'll realize that I have to go another way with it. Sorry guys, you got my classic brush cam. I'm gonna start calling it, because I'm just so good at, like, you guys getting essentially a big brush head. Because what'll happen a lot on these models is I'll need to get this is complex. This is interesting, because we got to get into here. Because now that I decided to make but you guys will see, the minute that I paint it, it will make more sense, because it is supposed to be a belt. So once I saw that that was a belt, I was like, ooh. But it's a tricky paint, because that belt is definitely in a lot of places, and then you got to get around some tight corners. It's always interesting when you have to paint something like that that's circular. Yeah, so now I have to get into some tight corners. But it worked out really well, because it did go very well, and it went easy. The tricky bit, I'm getting to right now. And it's only a tricky bit because I have to paint. It's always scary when I have to paint somewhere where I already painted with black. I hate black. Like, so of course, if I was a smarter man, what I should have done was realize that that was a belt, and then had painted it that way from the beginning. And then painted that from the beginning so that I wouldn't have gone back over anything that I had. Yeah, it's not, that's the way the model is. That's not something I can actually fix, but and while we're on the subject of black, but yeah, so but yeah, of course I would have of course painted that black first. I'm an idiot. I shouldn't have done what I just did. Nope. I'm going to have to re-white those tracks because I don't ever paint the black in the tracks. I always paint it differently. So far, I am loving this. This is coming out super, super awesome. Oh. And I'm excited because we have a couple of indie models coming too. So you guys are going to see a lot of variety of painting stuff, which I'm super, super stoked for. So I placed another order with my my new friends at Lorcom Miniatures, so I got more of them coming, which is all for our custom campaign, which is going to be amazing. So we're going to get to see more of that. I'm going to get those painted up, which so far those have all been going real, real well, and I cannot wait to get back on track with those. It's amazing how when I start these videos like actually on time, one, you guys are here, which is awesome, and two, like I stay up. I don't get tired. So this is a really good example of like traditional painting, because what just happened is a great example of like the way you would traditionally paint something. So like I blocked all that out, and then you guys will see how I'm going to bring it back. But this is exactly until I do something stupid like that. This is exactly. Should have did that with this smaller brush. So the idea of what I was trying to do was to create like little imperfections in sorry guys, I'm just performing what I call brush surgery, where I just I had to give my brush CPR to get all the dry paint off of it. But yeah, the idea of what I'm just terrible at this. I was gonna give it like scuff marks, like the paint wore off on it, but sort of worked, sort of didn't work. I'm not gonna say I was like completely happy with the way that was. And then these can just be. I had this other notion I was gonna do something different with them, but they can just be painted metal. I mean, they're brakes, and normally on a traditional bike, those would all be silver because they're not going to be a different color. Sometimes people have different grips, but in Ghost Rider's case, it is a very Uh, yeah, he drives a very traditional bike because it is the bike in which he it's the bike in which he used to do stunts. Because essentially, in the original Ghost Rider comic book, him and his father were daredevils, and over the time that they were daredevils, we're gonna play this game now. I hate this game. I hate when I do a little detail and I have to re-go over it again. But we're about to do that. And the reason I'm jumping around, guys, is because I want to let that other part of the model dry. And in traditional fashion, I'm finding, just areas that I might not have painted all the way, or I missed a detail, and I'm just like jumping in and just getting that really quick. So like, here's some areas where I didn't fully paint. So when I see these, I'm just like trying to squash them and get them done, because we are really close to getting this like 100% ready to go. Once I and some of this is nitpicking, some of it's not. I say it all the time with your model, like, all of the defects that you see on a model, like, you will always see them. A lot of times, most people will not see them. So you may look at the model and go, like, you always see that white dot, that white spot you never painted, or you always see. But most people aren't going to see it. And before you guys all yell at me, I do know for a fact that part of the base is not painted. I'm very aware of that. I'm just going in and getting certain things done. Oh, there's a whole set of mechanics that I didn't paint in there. Okay. And again, we're painting Marvel Crisis Protocol models for the Marvel Crisis Protocol game. If you are somebody who loves superheroes, loves tabletop miniature games, then Marvel Crisis Protocol is very much a game I would say is up your alley. I love it because it is a small squad-based game. I love it because it's pretty cost-effective. So if you're looking for something that doesn't have a lot of big buy-in, so like, you're not going to be sitting there going absolutely crazy, spending like tons and tons of money. It is a super awesome game for that. And then also, what I love about it is that, obviously, being a huge, as I am, big Marvel fan, I love the fact that, you walk away with some pretty sick models. So even if you decide to try the game and then never play it again, if you're a Marvel collector like me, you can have some really cool miniatures that are awesome for display and that are awesome to, have around the house. Oh man, I am doing terrible jobs here. Oh geez. Okay. All right, let me get my other gray. Seeing all these like little places in the bike, I definitely miss painting. Yeah, that's all the same gray. It's all Space Wolf gray. I have to just go in and do like a quick touch up to that, and then we're really doing the base after that, and then we're like done. All right. I was doing a bad job with this. Okay. All right, so I got that part. Yeah, there's some tight corners in there. I gotta get in. Not much better. That. Alright, sorry guys. I know. Oh, it's like every time I think I'm done with a gray, I like find a spot I didn't paint. Oh my god. This is giving me flashbacks of that World Eater army that I did, that commission I did. Oh my god. It's only giving me flashbacks because basically every time I did part of the model, for them it was all there. They have a bunch of gold trim. There's a ton of gold, like, accents. There's a ton of gold, like, everything. And I just, like, sat there and I was like, for the love of Christ, I can't paint any more gold. And I, like, was painting gold every 5 seconds. And I was like, I need to die. This gold is crazy. And Ghost Rider is starting to make me feel that, like, some flashbacks to that because... Yeah, because I kind of like made the center of the engine, which I didn't really mean to do it, but it kind of looks cool because then it breaks up the silver. So I made the center of the engine have like a light gray. All right. Now, what also is, it's not frustrating, but, like, the other thing, too, is it's just, like, not... So I'm just going back over. This is also to give it, like, more of a tone, because if you build that tone... That's what's great about that contrast. You can build it up. So I'm just kind of... See, now that all has that, like, nice look. Yeah, baby. Look at that. That looks awesome. I really like how that's starting to look. Alright, so now we got to do silver bits. And then let's do... Let me water this down a little bit. So what I'm trying to do now is I'm trying to, like, target this, but at the same time, like, not. And you guys will see what I'm doing in a minute. I'm trying to give it, like, an outline. So it doesn't distract from it, but it creates like a point of interest. So you can see it's like kind of making that outline on it. Because what that's going to do is it's going to, like I said, create a point of interest. And again, it'll bring this outline in. And then I can kind of play with the silhouette or the way I want that to look. I'm going to just, like, modify the way that I want that flame to be. But now you can see it looks so much more pronounced and cooler now that I have that flame effect, you know, like, emphasized a little bit more. Because, again, we didn't really give a lot of love to the base yet, and I'm just going through it. You can see how awesome the contrast is because you can build it. So you can make all these, like, really nice little effects. I don't know. Like, I say it all the time. I know there's a lot of people out there that are like, you're crazy, you hand paint everything. Which, by the way, is one of the reasons that I do not get things done as quick as the average bear. It's 100% the reason why. But I don't know. There's just something about hand painted. I always like it better. I feel like I could be so much more organic. I could be so much more interesting. I could do more interesting things with my models if I do the hand painting. You know, like, airbrush is great, and you know, you do get, I mean, like, you will get more even tones with an airbrush. It's, like, 100% true. But I don't know. There's just like a crafts piece to it that I guess I just always was on that camp where I was like, oh, okay, what is going on? Oh, I still have to paint more. That's why. I'm like, why is that? Why is there like white areas? Yeah, white's your enemy because the minute you see white, it always throws your eye off, and you always think that you didn't like do enough. So I was just watching some folks that were doing like tabletop stuff, and the guy was really funny enough. His name is also Dave. I know there's like other Daves out there, and I wanted to say again thank you to. I thought it was amazing. The last time I was doing like Warhammer stuff, Dave from Mini Wargaming. If you guys are familiar with Mini Wargaming, if you're Warhammer players. He actually jumped into my stream. He said hi. Apparently, I didn't realize this, but they do that from time to time, especially if you are one of their one of their vault members. They jump in and take a look. So. Yeah, but I was watching another YouTube channel. Which was, it is actually called, yeah, it's called Tabletop Time, which is super, super awesome, and they are super, super awesome people. And they actually have a person by the name of Dave as well. He does a lot of, I mean, they all do like tabletop miniature painting. But he was talking about specifically doing bases and how, like, when you do a base, you want a base to be interesting, but you don't want it to be overbearing. So you don't want it to take away from your model. So, like, I don't want to go crazy with the fire effects, but I wanted to, like, make it look like he was, like, ripping across the floor. So I will, you know, I'm going to work a little bit more with that. And then I'm going to do the wash on here. You guys will see the minute I do the wash, look at how different and awesome this looks. So I'll do the wash first. Because then it looks a little bit more like, you know, New York City sewer grate. Doesn't look as clean. And then a little technique that I started doing is taking a little bit of the orange and it looks like you take some of the orange, it actually looks like you have now a rusted sewer grate. It'll actually dry and it will look, it'll look a little bit more like rust. So it'll be like this rust effect on that sewer grate, which is going to look amazing. Alright, so far I'm getting pretty happy with this. And I can't believe I'm going to say that probably going to end on this model. That's awesome. But, like, we're going to end, which is the other cool part. So, it's going to be like, Ah. Oh, no, 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 no. Did I just, like, clip them? Please tell me I didn't just do that. Oh, God, that would be terrible. All right. So what I'm doing now... So, typically when I do the rail tracks on any of my other bases, I will usually use the gray and the black. So I'll have the rail be black, and I'll use the Space Wolf's gray in there to just to break up the aesthetic. What it does is it makes like a very cool effect, because you'll get like a bluish tint to it. I like it, but I'm trying to break up it with that other theme. And actually, I think I haven't necessarily done this before. I'm going to try it. I want to see what happens if I do the wash on the brick. It'll probably look really good. Because it'll darken the brick, which will be kind of a cool effect. I've never really done that before, but let's see what happens. Yeah, that looks awesome. Okay, that's what I expected it to do, which was just look awesome and cool. And it makes, again, these are supposed to be like New York City, like cobblestone streets, so because if you didn't know this, most of the characters of the Marvel Universe, not all, but most of them did originate like in New York City, and that was intentional, because Stan Lee wanted it to be, he wanted like the heroes and everything to seem more realistic. So he made it all happen in New York. But yeah, I'm like really digging this. I'm just gonna like dirty up this pipe a little bit, because I want to like make the pipes. I love making the metal a little bit more on the dirty side with like a wash or something. I really, really like how this came out. Yeah, he looks awesome. All right, so guys, I'm thinking like I'm gonna do some more on the fire, but after we do the fire, I'm probably gonna call this a done painted model. It's pretty much on that side where I would call it. So, I mean, definitely a couple of little touch-ups here and there that I can see I might have to do, but I do have to let some of it dry. So, but I'm really happy with the way this came out. I love how the fire on the wheels came out. All right, let's do a little bit of like quick work on that fire on the bottom, where we're gonna do some free line work in there. Again, not to be too distracting on that base, but like I said, I don't want to go too crazy. Nice. Yeah, baby. Yeah, that looks awesome. I love it. Oh my god, that looks fucking... I was gonna say it looks fucking fire, but that's like so... Oh my god, this is so cool. Oh, look at that, man. That looks freaking metal. It looks so good. Alright, and then just do little flickers in here. Little flicker in there. And a little flicker in here. Oh, that looks so good. Oh my god, this looks so cool. I'm so happy that this is coming out the way it is. Oh, this looks so awesome. That looks so amazing. That looks so cool. Oh my god, that looks so good. It's very simple. Extremely simple technique. It is not hard. Oh, that looks amazing. That looks awesome. I'm so happy. All right. Oh my god, that looks so good. That looks so awesome. Oh my god, so good, so awesome. Oh, Black Templars. Oh, this is so awesome. And having, like, it just proves a little bit, like, I think my painting has been so elevated just by having the proper place that I can do this with you guys now. It's so much more less restricting. And I'm giving you guys better quality content, and I'm so happy. It's, like, so much better. Oh, my God, that looks so fire. I hope... Okay, wait. Alright, let me just do... That'll bother me. Just do this real quick. Like I said, there are tiny, tiny touch-ups that I see in a couple of places. Not much. Like tiny, tiny touch-ups. Nothing crazy. Oof. Oh, it looks so good. The Ghost Rider looks real good. Like, oh, it looks so good. It came out so good. I love it. I love the bike. We got a gritty bike. We got nice flames on him. He looks like he's coming after you. You know, good style. And I mean, it looks like he's coming into town. It just looks so... this came out great. We have, like, such a nice... Whoa. Such a nice dirty street. Scuffed up marks. It's really nice. A couple of little things, which actually, here, I'll do them really quick. I'll do one last thing on it, because there are a couple of, like... And this is what I mean by, like, your model is never finished, because you can... Just doing, like, little... just little like detail elements. Because it's just gonna bring a more mechanic look to the bike. Ooh. I think there was a part of it that I didn't actually paint silver. Yeah, now we're good. Oh, look at that. Now it's looking even better. There is one other detail that I could do, which I was gonna do. Here, I need this. Yeah, because this'll help with. Oh, Jesus, this needs to be shooken or shaken. There we go. I want to do that. So one other thing I was going to do, which will make a difference in the model. So, my idea sort of didn't work. I'm going to cover it back up, some of it. Yeah. Alright, so some of that worked, some of that didn't work. I'm going to have to do a little bit of emergency care for him. Because it was a good idea in theory. I know what I was trying to go for, which was like... Yeah, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to lessen some of the lines in the jacket. Like here, for instance, like... I'm going to leave most of the lines because it does look pretty good. But you guys will see what I'm going to do. I'm going to do like slight edits to it. So like get rid of that one. You guys will see what I'll do. Just so it's not as, like, pronounced as it is now. Because it does look good. They do look good. It's just that they're a little... Ah, come on. Why is this brush, like, becoming, like, the biggest brush on the planet? It's a small detail brush. It shouldn't do that. Alright, but see... What's cool is if you go back over them, they do lose a little bit of their, like, pizzazz, but what I want to do is just... Yeah, I just want to, like, that works very well. Very, very well. So I'm going to, like, leave that. I'm going to actually leave that. That all looks good. And this looks good. Like, all that looks really good. That looks really good. So I'll leave that. Because it breaks up the black and it makes him look a little bit more interesting. Oh, no. Okay. Oh, well, that would be why it's not there anymore. Show you guys what I'm gonna do. Kind of do the same approach in the sense Let's just see if my idea works. If it doesn't work, it's a horrible idea, and I'll table it. But I don't think it's gonna not work. And now this is sometimes where I'm pushing the envelope, and I probably shouldn't have done that. So I'm trying an idea. We're gonna see if it works. And the idea seems to be kind of working. So let's see if I'm right. It actually does seem like my idea might work. And what the idea is to no, it worked. Nice. All right, cool. So the idea was to do it so that if you guys look, I threw the color down, but then what I did was, I went back with the black to basically like on the model do a kind of a wet mix. But now what it did was it gave me a little white border outline, which is perfect. So now that has re-energized the belt, and it's hard to see, but now you have these really nice streak lines in the jacket, so it looks like the jacket's wrinkles are there. So we kind of emphasize the wrinkles, which is awesome. So now he's got an extra little detail to him, and I am super stoked with what we got now. That was a little tiny detail that I wanted to just pop in there, and it looks pretty awesome, pretty nice. So I am super happy with the way this came out. This looks super awesome. So we're going to close the book on Ghost Rider. I think this is a great paint for Ghost Rider. I am happy with the paint. I'm happy with the way it came out. I really like this model. It was a lot of fun to paint. I say this all the time with the Marvel Crisis Protocol stuff, but they are fun models to paint. They always are cool. They always are exciting, and they give you something to write home about. They always do. And I'm super happy. I'm super stoked. And I hope you guys enjoyed this paint. I am really happy with how this turned out. It's insane. I love the fire effects. It looks like Ghost Rider is coming for your soul, which is what I wanted. So, and I love Ghost Rider. Ghost Rider happens to be one of my favorite characters, and I cannot wait to do like a monster mythic team with them. I think it's going to be amazing and awesome and super duper cool. So, super amazing. Love the paint. Again, if you guys want to see more painting like this, please consider following the channel, as well as signing up for notifications. It's the best way to know when we're live. I'll be doing Warhammer models tomorrow, and then usually Wednesdays I do some indie models. I'll be doing some more LexCon miniatures for our homebrew campaign, so you definitely want to check that out. And that's pretty awesome. And this was only essentially a 3 to 4 hour paint, and I mean, I'm really happy with the results and where we got to. So very cool. You know, I'm just super stoked about it. Yeah, we've dirtied up all We dirtied up all the chrome and everything. It just looks so cool. All right, well, thank you guys for watching, as always. And I'll see you at the next video. Consider, like I said, signing up and following us. And signing up for notifications. Again, I want to thank my sponsor for this video, Undiscovered Realms. You guys can check a link to them below. It's where I get all of my materials, supplies, and models. They are awesome. Please support them. You can check them out via the internet. And they order and get you set right up there. And then also, for folks that are looking for it, we have our website, my Patreon, and the tip/station button. That's some great ways to monetarily support the channel. The monetary support helps because I keep, with your support, getting more equipment and other stuff. So if you guys want to see better videos, more content, and more robust things, that monetary support is so helpful, because I want to do this on a much more regular and much more routine basis for you all. But I can only do that if I get the support from folks like you, because you know, this stuff costs money. Things are getting more expensive. All that crazy stuff. And you know, I do work a regular full-time job. So you know, gotta keep things moving forward in that direction. But if you guys can support us monetarily, I could definitely move forward and do a lot more of the things that I want to do on the channel and bring more content to all you guys. So I want to, you know, do full. I want to do full reviews of a lot of model companies out there, but I'm not able to get their models because, for the most part, at this moment, there's very few companies that are sending me stuff to review, so I'm doing all this out of pocket. So your support is what keeps things moving forward, things moving in the right direction, and hopefully one day getting all the content I want to get to you guys live. So thank you all for watching. I'll see you at the next video.